Hello, everyone. This is James Zary here at the city of Austin, Texas, for season 2, episode 2 of the Thrive and Vibe podcast. I've been fortunate enough to really catch up with an amazing individual here. She's a CCO, or Chief Creative Officer, of a new tech startup called Vlogmi. It is a new social media app that is going to completely disrupt the way how Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat kind of goes about it. And it was a very good, interesting, and authentic way of going about it, too. And she's not just also a CCO and one of the co-founders of Vlogmi. She is a great, lovable sister and a daughter to a family who was of Filipino and Canadian descent. And she's been living here in Austin, Texas. And she's actually originally from Canada. But without further ado, I definitely introduce you guys, Raphael Sorsen.
Hey.
Hey.
That's me.
Or AKA Rafi.
Yep, Raphael or Rafi, whichever one. It both works.
Yeah, so again, Rafi, I thank you so much for really making time out of your busy schedule to really be here with me for this episode of Thrive and Vibe. And you're definitely one of the first people who have an amazing startup and like to really come disrupt the whole social media. But of course, you may have heard about Thrive and Vibe. I definitely ask questions to people who are thriving in their business or their side hustle or projects and how they vibe, just out of that day-to-day hustle. But first and foremost, adding more to what I said, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Raphael Thorson. I grew up in Canada up until I was around 14. My family is half Canadian and half Filipino, and so after I turned 14, I moved to the Philippines, and I lived there for almost 6 years. And so I went to high school there, and then COVID, and then a little bit, high school, and then basically straight after high school was COVID.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Wow, COVID really kind of changed a lot. Would you think if COVID never happened, you would have never been here, to be honest?
Wow, probably. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like fate works in mysterious ways. So I feel like I might still be here, but it would be very, very different because COVID impacted us so heavily, especially being in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just so strict, and I wasn't allowed outside of the house at all for like a year straight because at the time I was under 21. And so anyone who was under the age of 21 or over the age of 65 wasn't even allowed outside of their house. And so I was just stuck inside. I didn't even leave my front door, really.
Wow. So, you have to rely a lot on the apps or probably, do phone calls to get grocery delivered or do some fun stuff, a lot of FaceTiming and whatnot with people, maybe your relatives in Canada as well as the relatives in the Philippines, right?
Yeah, actually, my friends and I, we would go on Club Penguin to hang out.
Club Penguin? Oh my goodness. Oh my god. I know what was that, there was that other game called kind of like the mystery murder kind of thing.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, something like that.
Among Us.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really huge. I got into that scene. Club Penguin, that was, I can't believe you guys still play that.
Well, at the time, it actually already shut down because Disney bought out Club Penguin and then they shut it down. But there was this cracked version online that was a rip-off version of it. And so my friends and I would just go onto that and hang out online through that. Or we would play a lot of Minecraft. We played lots of Minecraft during COVID.
Oh man, Minecraft is actually really huge. And that's also acquired by Microsoft too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. So you were definitely moved to the States and was heavily impacted by COVID. And now that you're already living almost a year or almost 2 years in Austin right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you liking that as compared to the Philippines or maybe in Canada too?
It's super different from the Philippines. I definitely had a big culture shock coming here, but I love Austin. I think it's my favorite city I've lived in so far. It's so beautiful. The weather, it's a bit too hot sometimes. Yeah. It gets really intense. I was surprised. Do you kind
of miss the snow a bit?
I do miss the snow. I haven't really experienced snow since I lived in Canada. Right. They have the freeze here, but I don't consider that the same.
No, it's not.
It's just the roads freeze over and the trees fall down. But I really, really love it here. But It's quite similar to where I grew up in Canada, like Calgary,
Mm-hmm.
because they're both like Calgary is almost considered the Texas of Canada, or
Oh,
Alberta
really?
is. Yeah, because we have like rodeos. Alberta's probably like the more conservative state in Canada too, and so it's kind of similar to Texas in that way.
Mm.
And they were kind of based around oil and cattle, and so they're very similar in a lot of ways. And so coming here kind of felt like coming back home in a way,
Yeah.
just a lot hotter and a lot hotter than the Philippines even too, which I was surprised about.
That's actually surprising. Me as a Malaysian, like we do experience heat that's very similar to the Philippines, but it's just a lot more like I could say it could be a lot more humid. You could sweat more just without even trying.
Yeah.
And you can have some heat strokes there. But okay, so with you being a Filipino and Canadian, like how has that kind of impacted you and also your siblings' life? Because it's a really cool mix, but at the same time, like growing up, I'm pretty sure you have thoughts of like, how do I identify more with this?
Yeah.
Am I proud to do this? It's definitely probably it's very overwhelming. Let alone you lived over 3 places. This is your third country Austin is a city, but third country in the United States you lived in.
Yeah.
And you're doing big stuff. I think that's a lot on your plate, just mentally and personally too.
Yeah, actually. So growing up, it's funny because I was always kind of the Asian kid. I remember going to school and my mom would pack me sushi, and I'm not even Japanese, but
wow,
like she
sushi.
would pack me sushi for lunch. I am part Japanese, but
Wait, what?
yeah, my mom
You
is
did not
part
tell me
Japanese.
this.
Well, okay.
Ay nako, what?
Ay nako.
Ay nako.
No, quick breakdown. So my mom, so my grandpa is half Spanish, half Japanese, and my mom's mom is Filipina, and so I'm quite mixed. But that's a very common mix in the Philippines because we were colonized by everyone. So
I thought you guys were only colonized by the Spaniards, but
Spaniards and then America basically.
oh yeah, America. They came in
and-
like around 1950s or something, and then brought over the nurses.
Yep, and then Japan, like after the war, there was the Japanese were in the Philippines.
Wait, how long did they occupy the Philippines? Would you say?
I actually don't know. Like
Okay.
it was during World War II. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I've got some Japanese mixed in me. Oh yeah, I was talking about sushi. But yeah, so she would pack me sushi for lunch, and I remember like I was one of I think 4 Asian kids in my school, in my grade at least.
Yeah.
And so like it was kind of like, whoa, you're bringing sushi for lunch, or like we would go out for dim sum, and then my mom would pack me like leftovers for lunch, and I was never really made fun of for it, which I'm very thankful for. I know
Yeah.
a lot of other people growing up have had very different experiences, but like I could definitely notice growing up that I was one of the Asian kids,
Yeah.
and then when I moved to the Philippines, all of a sudden I was the white girl, and like I'm not even considered Filipino there, and so that was weird because I always considered myself Filipino.
Yeah.
Even growing up in Canada, like I probably thought of myself as more Canadian when I would live there, but then when I lived in the Philippines and I had like really formative years there, I almost consider myself like not more Filipino, but like it's definitely brought out like a different side of me living
Yeah.
there. And yeah, it's just very, very different. And then living here, all of a sudden I'm the Asian person again. And so like the people will ask me, what kind of Asian are you?
Yeah, I think I first came up to, and I kind of knew like they look Filipino.
Yeah.
But they're probably, but they probably are mixed.
Yeah.
But I just went up right away, and you and Luke were shocked too. I was like, what? And then you're like, hey, mom, dad, come here.
Yeah, because we met at South by Southwest, right? And
Yes,
so
that was a great, amazing time. Yeah, a bit stressful time. I'm not gonna lie. Like
it was stressful. Yeah.
like there was just so many events kind of going on, and my car almost got broken into.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. Like a homeless
Goodness.
man saw something and thought he wanted to kind of break in. I was like, dude, no. but again, it's Austin. I don't know. There's a lot of it's a good. You deal with the good, the bad, and the weird. And
Yes.
that's the word the city got its reputation around the world, like, yeah, keep it weird.
Yeah, keep Austin weird.
Before you actually think of like the time before you moved to Austin, what did you thought of Austin or U.S. before? You probably must have had lots of thoughts of like what you see in TV or read online or whatever, but I'm pretty sure you guys were pretty nervous.
I didn't really know what to expect because there's a very different picture of Texas than, like, I'm also in a bubble because I know Austin is very much a bubble compared to the rest of Texas.
Yeah,
and so I haven't really experienced the rest of Texas as much. But before I moved here, I was like telling my friends, like, I'm moving to Austin, Texas. And they're like, why are you going to Texas? Like, what's in Texas other than like cowboys and horses? And honestly, I didn't really know either, but I heard that the startup scene was booming here. And so that was basically why we chose Austin, because we were looking at possibly California, like Silicon Valley, or possibly Seattle, because it's really close to Victoria, BC, where we lived for a little while in Canada. But then we kind of found out about Austin. I'm not sure from where, but my dad brought it up, and he's like, what do you guys think about Austin, Texas? Or what do you guys think about Texas? And then we learned more about Texas as a whole ecosystem, like how Houston is nearby, Dallas and San Antonio, and
very true, very true.
Yeah, and like all of those cities together are so powerful. Like, it's such a great community to be a part of, like them all being so close to each other. And so we just decided to take the leap and just came to Austin, check it out, and we ended up really liking it.
Nice. No, that's really good to hear. And of course, like, welcome to Austin, Texas, or welcome to Texas.
Thank you
for that. But let's move on to more of the thriving and the good part, Vlogmi.
Sure,
so, again, like, first question at Vlogmi, how did that came upon to where it is right now? You can give probably a summarized version, because I know you and I, we talked about it, and it was like hours, but for our audience here, like, maybe talk about, and maybe you can pull up on your phone and show it to the camera, like, what the Vlogmi app is.
Yeah, so I started on Vlogmi actually while I was still in high school, and like right as I was finishing it. And so we started on it there. We came up with the initial idea much longer before. My brother came up with it actually when Snapchat had first released its story feature. And at the time, he really liked that it was a more genuine perspective into his friends' lives, that he could really see what was going on in their day-to-day. But he didn't like that it disappeared after 24 hours. And so the first initial concept of Vlogmi was stories that never disappear.
Story that never disappear, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, I can see where the disappearing factor is like a double-edged sword. It's like one end is like you want to send something like this very secretive between you and that person, you and the receiver, and want to make sure, okay, it doesn't get into anyone's hand. On the other end, I think I can see, like, hey, you should not really kind of keep it secret. We want to have a good, positive environment, and let's keep the memories. But continue on.
Yeah, so, like, that was kind of the initial concept. And I agree that, like, stories disappearing is definitely a positive in some ways. Some people really like that. But I think if you're trying to create memories and be able to go back and look at something and see the times that you had, then it's important to have them, like, be able to go back and see them whenever you want.
Yeah.
But then kind of when that was the initial concept and we started doing more research into social media, we kind of realized how much of a negative impact it's had on our generation, and seeing how much it's affected, especially even my brothers and I, how much it's affected us and our peers and just everyone around our age. And so that was kind of when we made the pivot to make it more about positivity and making a positive impact in people's mental health and digital well-being instead of a negative one.
And tell me more about the digital well-being. That's such a very, as a millennial, maybe that's just how it is, but maybe could you emphasize more about digital well-being?
Yeah.
Like, I understand mental health, but digital well-being is kind of a new term to me.
It is, yeah. And so, like, for example, we spend so much time on our phones now, and there are a lot of things on our phones and on our computers or whatever like platforms you use that aren't very good for you, and we don't really take that into account, or we think about it but then we just kind of ignore it. And so I think that there's a lot of platforms such as like Instagram or such as TikTok that can be fun and that I think do have some positive things about them, but overall affect us negatively. And so like that part of our lives that's online, I think it's important to nurture that and to make sure that the things that you spend time on are actually impacting your life in a positive way instead of a negative one.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. That's good. So, so that's like the high level of Vlogmi, and then what is like maybe what are some cool features that Vlogmi will do? Because I think like I like how you really explain it. You want it to kind of be like almost like a Snapchat with the stories, but you don't want it to just be. You want to have long, everlasting memories. Kind of like keeping like a photo album in some sort of way. Am I getting on the right track? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
So the main difference of Vlogme from other social platforms is that you can only upload content that was taken from directly inside of our in-app camera. So there's no
okay.
Photoshop, no repost, no beauty filters. It's all raw and in the moment. And that's really what we're going for. We don't want anything that's, from your camera roll or that may have been edited, or, you're showing pictures that you were at the beach even though you were there a year ago and it's making it seem like you're there now.
Yeah.
And so everything is in the moment. Everything is exactly what's happening right now.
So it sounds like kind of what I understand is like it's like be real. Like you're really in the moment. Like if I were to take a picture of this right now, like this is right now, like it's or it is. It's not like I'm gonna hold on to it a year later and repost it. Say, oh, doing a podcast with Rafi.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people compare us to Be Real, and it's like very understandable because it's like the authentic social media. I think that what they did was really interesting, really great. And it really showed a need for this more authentic content. But the thing about Be Real is that they've actually lost like half their user base since they peaked. And I think a big part of that is that it's great that it's bringing out this more authentic side of people, but when you can't be creative or consume content or create content, then a platform can get really boring really fast.
Yeah, I think it's like and we can talk more into the business side of things. Like I'm pretty sure you and your siblings and the rest of the team are thinking not just this is a cool idea and it'll shoot right up. Like you want to make it sustainably, and you guys are growing like in a good sustainable way, rather than just like have and probably have more ideas, like more plans of how you want to spread it out. Because that's really interesting that you told me that Be Real really did start out big, but there's really nothing more to it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you're in the moment, but there's nothing to kind of edit. And would you say that like the editing feature or filters is what gives that pizzazz to really get more users come? Like Facebook has done it, Snapchat's done it, TikTok has done it with the filters. And with Vlogme still being in the moment, but yeah, it's just more like I'm pretty sure you can answer my question, like how are you guys thinking of adding content with Vlogme?
So on Vlogme, we still want our users to be creative. And so one of the ways that we like to talk about that is a lot of the big platforms have creative limitations, which force users to be creative to create content with these limitations. And so, for example, on Snapchat, it would disappear. Or on Vine, you could only have 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And
or Twitter. Twitter used
like
to be
240 characters.
It used to be 140 characters, and then it kind of extended. And
I
don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is anymore, but everything's changing on Twitter lately. But so all these platforms have these creative limitations, and like some people talk about, well, can't I do what you're doing on TikTok, or can't I do what you're doing on Instagram? And technically, yes, but it's also the community that you're building with it. And so why do people choose to tweet when you can actually do that and so much more on Facebook?
Right.
It's the community that you build around it and the features that you have on your platform. And so on Vlogme, with us having to only upload content from our in-app camera, we're building a community that's more based around behind the scenes, authentic, in the moment content. Whereas on Instagram, it's all about like perfectly edited photos.
Yeah.
It's very much an influencer culture. Same thing on TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is very much an influencer culture.
I do see TikTok influencer, but at the same time, it's a very it sounds derogatory, but it wants to kind of be very fear mongering.
Yes.
Like they want to bash on people, which I get it. We all have a free speech and voice, and but I just don't think that's not that's what TikTok should be really genuinely used as, to kind of like bash your voice and in a more negative, to really, you know, make a point.
Yeah, I think a big thing with TikTok, honestly, I think it can be a really fun platform and there's really, really great creators on there. But you have to go through so much negative stuff to find a lot of the good stuff. And also on TikTok,
I like that. I think go through a lot of negative stuff and the good stuff. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, like it's true on TikTok. Like I'll be scrolling through and there's a lot of the stuff that I like, of course, because it knows exactly what I like. But a lot of it is quite negative, and I think that, you know, well, not I think, like it's basically true that the algorithm is showing you more negative stuff because that's what gets a reaction out of you. That's what will make you interact with the content more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's showing you like stuff that's going to make you angry, sad. And so it doesn't really leave you with a positive feeling after you use it.
Yeah, and for so Vlogmi is like I'm pretty sure you guys have multiple ideas of how to kind of make it more positive for almost all ages.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another thing that also blows my mind. Like, yeah, social media as a whole is simple, I think, but then really going deep into it and trying to make sure everyone has a good customer experience, for lack of a better term, I think that would be pretty tough. Like, would you think of like having age restriction on some point, or really, or it's just, I don't know. How would you guys kind of go about it, like try to make it as fun for everyone?
Yeah, so on our platform, we do have age restrictions, so it's 13 and up. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty standard across platforms that are on iOS, just because there's like restrictions when you go below that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like you need to have some restrictions to make the platform safe and to make it, you know, a positive experience for people. And so like the things that we have a hard stop on are nudity and violence, of course.
Would you guys take care of bots too? Oh man, the amount of bots I see on Instagram, it's insane.
Yeah, so actually one of the great parts about like our just core functionality being that you can only upload from our in-app camera is that it gets rid of deepfakes because you can't upload anything from your camera roll. You can't, we won't have a deepfake setting, and so you can't like create that in-app, and so you can only record what's happening right now unless you record another screen. And so I think that's a really important thing that's going to become a lot more prevalent, is that there's so many videos now that are actually just completely fake and people don't know if they're real or not. And so with us having that capability of knowing whether something's real or fake, and also later on we're going to be putting posts on the blockchain. And so users can choose whether they want to mint their posts as an NFT or not.
Wow.
Yeah, so that will come later. That's not implemented now, but that's definitely something in our roadmap that we're excited about.
Like, and would you say, you know, like, is that like something that gives, you know, the content creators or individual users like you and me, we can actually, that's how we wouldn't want to think of monetizing our own, let alone, of course, you as the founders, like, you guys get a little certain percentage of that too. Would you say so? Yeah,
so it is a monetization vertical, definitely, but I think the main thing with like NFT verification is that you know that you own your content, you know that this is verified, this comes from this source. Just really knowing and having the security of knowing where your content is. And then, of course, you can also sell it if you'd like. And so then, you know, we would get a transaction fee from that. So it is another monetization vertical. But, you know, if a post of yours went viral, then you can choose to sell it if you'd like. And then that could be something that you could do on our platform as a creator. You can sell your content if you'd like. But I think the main thing with that is that it's going to add a lot more credibility and security to people's profiles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it can definitely be very, I like it as try to be as fair as possible too. And yeah, so as of right now, like, was Vlogmi already beta tested around the United States? Any other plans for international, or that's already happening right now, Rafi?
Yeah, so right now we have a beta, and we have around 850 users on our beta, but that's both in America and in the Philippines, and some in Canada, some in other parts. And so that's mostly just been through word of mouth, family, friends, events.
But 850 in less than a year, that's actually still pretty impressive though.
Thank you, yeah. Yeah, we've met a lot of people since since beginning this, so it's exciting.
Yeah.
But we will be launching our full app beginning of June.
Beginning
And
of
so
June.
we're planning on going to the Philippines actually for our initial go to market and acquiring our first 20,000 users. And so that'll come mostly from the Philippines. That's going to be kind of our initial launch area for testing. And yeah, I'm really excited for that.
And then the Philippines after that, you're gonna spread it across Southeast, or just one step at a time. Like you just see how the Philippines go, and
Yeah.
then go and then roll with the punches there.
Yeah, so initially it's going to be the Philippines. And so we know the market very well there because we lived there, and my brother, his previous startup was a record label in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
He was one of the founding members of it, and so he worked a lot with the fans of the artists there. He worked a lot with the brands that he was
So pretty
partnering
much
them with.
you can get some ambassadors there to really promote. Think of it like promoting Vlogmi.
Yeah, yeah, we can definitely, we have a lot more connections like that there, and so I think it's a great reason for that, and also for the user base. They're very English speaking, they're very Americanized online, and it's actually a very common place for companies to test their products before launching in the American market. And so that's kind of why we're choosing Philippines as the first place. But our go-to-market is able to be replicated, and so we're looking at possibly other Southeast Asian countries, and so maybe like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, places like that. And so we're definitely looking at Southeast Asia down the line. After the Philippines, and then once we have an active user base, we're going to be heavily promoting in America.
Yeah. I should have asked this question earlier. This just popped in my head. So I did download the Vlogmi, and I'll definitely kind of show this to the audience. Like the app, it shows the alien.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very cute alien. I think he's holding pizza, or I don't know. Just explain to me the design of it. It caught my attention as an individual.
Thank you.
But at the same time, like, well, why the alien?
So
why
actually,
is it so cute?
His name is Boba. His name is Boba.
So he is drinking boba. It's not pizza.
His name is Boba, but he's holding a phone.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
Why did I say pizza? I was thinking pizza. Okay, yeah, he's holding a phone.
But that's good user feedback. Maybe I should make it look more like a cell phone, or maybe I should make it pizza.
Okay, I'm just one man. You would have to get a lot of user feedback from 850 users right now. But but at the same time, yeah, what was the reason behind that? Because it did more like what I said, it caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I see a Snapchat, okay, ghost, it disappears. Facebook, well, regular F.
Yeah.
And Instagram, well, it has like that Instax camera as a background, but Vlogmi, like, okay, a cute alien with a phone, probably about to smiling, show some positivity, but yeah, I just emphasize more why that.
Yeah, so we really wanted our icon to be a mascot. We didn't just want it to be the letter V.
Does this give me Jollibee, like Jollibee vibes? As a Filipino guy, I tell me if I'm wrong.
I never thought about that, but I can
Till now.
totally see that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of your Filipino users are probably going to say the same thing. If you say this is like a mascot, it's like, yeah, might as well make it a Jollibee version.
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of going down that route, but the platform when I was designing it, because I do the UI UX,
Yeah.
I wanted it to be space themed, and so like our
Space
camera button
themed.
looks like a little like a space themed shutter, like of a camera, and then your profile is also an alien. The home page is like a space base, like a, and then like DMing is like a rocket ship, and so I thought it was really cute. I wish I had like a deeper meaning behind it. I think part of it.
I think that's already deep enough. Like you're talking very futuristic. We are going to in the future in that sense, and I just thought with the cute alien it caught my attention because I don't think any other social media platform that I know of actually uses a mascot like an alien.
I know Reddit has. I don't know if it's an alien or if it's
Reddit.
or if it's a robot, but
It's got a bit of both.
yeah, it's a bit of both. But yeah, I just really liked the alien. I wanted it to be something cute, something very friendly for people to like click on. And yeah, I think that like part of it is like you said, like very futuristic, and we know that social media isn't going away anytime soon. It's just going to be getting bigger, and so it is very like future facing, like future forward. we were thinking of even making it maybe like a mushroom because the mushrooms are kind of cute too, like a little mushroom dude. But I don't know. I really like the alien, so we'll see.
Well, people can definitely associate mushroom with something else.
Yeah, see, that's a problem because I wasn't like we don't want it to be like that. We want it to be like cute and fun and friendly. But I think an alien is a better way to go for that.
No. Thank you for the explanation because that has always been flowing inside my back of my head whenever I use Vlogmi. I was like. The alien is pretty cute. It kind of gets me hooked on about it, but then I'm just like, what is the meaning of it? I'll ask Rafi.
I'm glad you like it, and so because I was thinking of maybe like redesigning him. We'll probably do a bit of a redesign, but like keep his like core look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have some other designs of him as well, like that we have on our stickers that are pretty cute. I'll give you some after this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and then and actually that brings to another question: like, who actually did the first prototype design? Was it like you and your siblings, or you with a bunch of like artists? And then I don't know, like how that process went.
So the initial like very first Vlogmi mock-ups were made. By Luke, my older brother, and I think he had someone he was working with from like Upwork or something, but that was for the old iPhone. That was before it had like the notch and when it still had like a home button.
Are we talking about the iPhone 2 or 3G or?
Yeah, like those generations, like before, like when it still had the home button.
Oh, it still had a home button. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and so that was what the initial ones were, but then. Like, that was back when Vlogmi was still more of an idea than a business. And so when we decided to go work on Vlogmi full-time, like, later on, because this was, like, a couple years later, when we wanted to make it more than just an idea, Luke asked me to redesign the screens because he wanted them to be for the new iPhones, the one with the notch, the one with no home button. And so then I was the one kind of spearheading the whole redesign of the app. And they only had, like, a few screens at the time. And so that was kind of like my in to Vlogmi. I started like doing some screens. I had never done that before. I was mostly sketching them and working with an artist on Upwork as well, working together. But yeah, they ended up turning out really great. I had a great time working with him. His name is Dixant. He was great, and I would just sketch them out, and he knew exactly what I was thinking. And so that was kind of like the whole first iteration of the screens. And now I mostly do them myself.
Nice. Yeah. Would you say I have this theory of like when you know your company's successful, once you have users tattooing that. Why I say that? Because I have seen like from clothing company, or even Spartan race. You've heard of Spartan race, like that big terrain race. Like people actually tattooing like the Spartan race on their body. Would it make you freak out, or would you be happy, be like, wow, someone loves Vlogmi so much that they tattooed it?
I would be very shocked because it's like, why? Like, it's cool, like, thank you for liking my platform, but it's also like, is this really what you want tattooed on your body forever? Like, it's a social media platform, like, it's not that deep.
Yeah. Hey,
but thanks.
But social media platform is still very important. Like you said earlier, like it's not gonna go away.
Yeah.
And again, like I have a good feeling that a lot of people is definitely heading in the right direction, and I'm really excited to kind of grateful to kind of interview with you about this, and also see how it kind of goes from there. Yeah. So that's enough about the thrive part, but let's go to the other good part, the vibe.
All right.
So again, you've been living in Austin, just you and your family. What have you learned about yourself, or also learned about the life as an American?
So, actually, one thing I noticed a few months after living here, especially being here at the Capital Factory, where we're filming this right now.
Yeah.
It's like a co-working space with startups, and it's more of like a co-working community, and they have like a lot of resources, but I'm surrounded by founders every single day. And I learned after kind of helping some people out with like design ideas, things like that, I was like, I could actually get paid for what I'm doing. I was like shocked that I had skills that were transferable, sort of.
Yeah, and if you were to do it in the Philippines or Canada, maybe it'd be like, oh, that's just a hobby kind of thing, right?
Well,
But here it's like,
yeah, I never thought of it as like a real job because I've never had a real job. I've only worked like a real job. I've worked at Vlogmi since high school, and in the Philippines, I never really had a job outside of school because it's not as much of a thing to have a part-time job while you're in high school in the Philippines as much as it is in America. And so this is like my first real job, and I was shocked that I could actually get paid for it because I don't get paid now. We haven't raised enough that we start paying ourselves yet.
yeah, but you have stake in it, so.
Yeah, exactly. But like I've never earned my own money before, really. And so when I learned from other people that like what I'm doing has value to others as well, I was just shocked. I was like, wow, what I'm doing, like I've built up skills without like going to college, just like doing like watching YouTube videos, doing it myself. Like yeah, it was just like a big eye-opening moment for me.
Yeah, and then as I can say this, I kind of being an entrepreneur that even though I went to college, I went through the whole corporate route, and I feel like the actual true when to know your go to that entrepreneur field, it's a whole new level, and I'm still a baby. I'll say that for myself. Like I'm still a baby. Like I thought I got everything kind of figured out, knowing, but it's a whole new thing. But again, you're in a good place to kind of like get that huge new world experience, and I'm pretty sure what I like in entrepreneurship that you guys embrace failure. You guys embrace failure, but you guys don't harp on failure. Like you don't look for perfection. You just say, hey, just you look at if you failed at something or you think you didn't deliver, just get back up and just go over it again and reiterate fast. Would you say that's kind of like true in some sort of sense?
Yeah, definitely. Like failure is the best learning experience. I think you learn way more from failure than you do from success. And so yeah, like for us especially, like we don't like think about it too much, or like we don't dwell on it, I mean.
Yeah.
We don't dwell on the failures. We just, okay, that happened. What can we do to not make that happen next time? What have we learned? Let's move on. And yeah, I think it's very, very important to experience that. We've experienced it a lot. And so also dealing with rejection is...
Yeah, definitely rejection, yeah.
Yeah, it's really valuable because, you know, we've pitched so many times, especially like in the Philippines before we got here. We got set up with a lot of meetings and...
It just never fall through.
Yeah, and what we learned is that like we weren't ready, and we learned a lot from those meetings, from a lot of no's. And yeah, it was just such a great learning experience to walk into a room, put your whole life on to like this pitch deck and pitch someone your idea asking for an investment, and they're like, nah.
Damn, that's like that's worse than just doing an interview like for a job. Because I can say this, I've been in that interview route where I do interview with like five different companies, but you know, I still kind of get a job. But what you kind of say is like you could put your whole life's work, and you may have lots of problems personally, but your whole life's work, and you did everything right, and the investor be like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And you kind of had to kind of go back and do it again. And to a lot of like, again, you do inspire me as well, and I'm pretty sure to a lot of the younger people that are probably your age or even just as young, they want to kind of get into it. How do they mentally get ready to do it, or really get mentally to get to the point of what you're doing right now? Like, I could pretty much say, you and your brother and your siblings are doing it. Your whole family is all in it. But for someone that is your age, saying, I don't want to work for someone. I really want to work for myself. What would you say to that person?
So I would say like probably just start. The hardest part is starting, and also being comfortable asking for help, and also learning to deal with rejection. Yeah. And so I think that those are all really important, but I think the most important part is to just start, do your own research, find the right people to know, because it's, a lot of people don't like to say it, but it really is about who you know.
Yeah.
If you want to like make it. And so like start going to the events, start learning from people, find a mentor, and really just immerse yourself in. If it's a startup, then immerse yourself in the startup community. Like start making connections there, start going to the events, start taking courses, like researching it. Just really just immerse yourself in it. And I think that's probably the best thing you can do, because you can think about it all you want, but you're never going to be prepared.
Yeah. And then another, like, that's a good one, like, start. I used to remember before I started Thrive and Vibe, I did started back in November. It flopped so bad. Like, I did not know a thing about podcasting, but I just knew deep in my heart that, okay, I had to take a break and then really go back. And then now I kind of got in a good flow.
Nice.
And just to kind of restarting again and just iterate. But the other thing, and maybe you're probably at this stage, but sometimes us entrepreneurs, we can start, but sometimes we don't know when to pivot. That's always the hardest part.
Yep.
Like, because we can be so single focused, and then once we don't get what we want, and then once we don't get what we want and we get frustrated, it's like, no, I either make the choice, I'm going to keep going this way, or you be like, hey, okay, looking at the market, I think I had to pivot into this. Even though you love doing, even though you're really focused on just hitting that one specific target, like, I'll say for myself, like, I want to do a Thrive and Vibe podcast, but if I had to pivot more into making shorts or making more YouTube videos, but I still want to do the audio, like, I think that the short question is like, how do some entrepreneurs really have to ask themselves, like, okay, they have to pivot? Because, again, you told me about how you guys are pivoting, which I really agree. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a big thing is not having an ego tied to what you're doing. Like,
even though you're so proud of it, like, you made it.
Exactly. And, like, of course you need to be proud of what you've accomplished, what you've made, how far you've come, but you also need to be open to criticism and open to other perspectives, and realize that, there's other ways that you can do something that might work better. And so if you really want to make something work, then you might need to pivot a little bit. And that's something that we've learned, to not have an ego tied to what we're doing, because if someone comes along and they have advice on what we can do differently, of course, don't just take advice from anyone, but advice is great, but know who you're getting it from, their qualifications. Yeah. But still, if you
maybe my 2 cents may not make.
Yeah, exactly. Like we get feedback sometimes from people who are in a completely different industry who don't really understand social media, and so it's good to take it in, understand it, where they're coming from, and then decide what to do with that feedback. But if there's a better way of doing something, I think you should be open to pivoting. If it means, becoming successful in what you're doing. And so if someone came along and they said, we think that doing this would make it easier, like this would be a better way to go about doing Vlogmi, then we would be open to that feedback. But the main thing that we have a hard stop on is our core values.
Yeah.
And so I think having like a strong set of core values, and
it just makes everything more simple. It doesn't really create more tension or drama than it would actually come about. Because I think that's where sometimes I have seen, or maybe you have seen companies that thrive and then they just fall down because maybe the whole maybe the simple message is like they want to kind of make it bring value, but then the core values maybe they just crumble or it's been broken, and that's why it just dissipates.
Definitely, I've seen that with a few companies that's happened where they're operating, they're doing stuff, but they don't have like strong values or strong leadership, and so I think it's really important to have those set, but be flexible in the way that you go about it.
I like that. Yeah, be flexible, be open-minded, take criticism from someone that's credible, not just from anyone, because I think it's so easy to feel like you want to take criticism from someone that is like, I'll say for my case, like I got into criticism from someone that's doesn't know a thing about podcasts and heard my podcast, like, I don't like what you guys say about this. And I kind of took that almost serious, but then I realized, well, this is just one man. Well, I have like 99% of my listeners actually enjoying it. So
Yeah.
I'll stick to what the 99% of people are saying.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to, take in what they're saying and, maybe understand where they're coming from or things like that. But just don't change what you're doing with every single piece of feedback that you get.
That would be, yeah, that would be a nightmare, to be honest, like for a podcast. And I can't imagine if like how Facebook and Google are always changing every single day, probably.
Yeah.
With amount of feedback or reviews, whatever. But okay, so another thing about the vibe. So you faced that culture shock in Austin, Texas. Food. You guys, food. Everyone loves food. Do you like to cook? Do you like to kind of go out with your family, some of your friends?
So, since moving here, I live on like a startup founder diet, and
really?
That includes
Is it like the old Elon Musk diet? It was like eating spaghetti and just to drink 1 cup of water. Like that's how he did it when he first founded. Not first founded. When he was first working on Tesla.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. I eat a lot of instant noodles, drink a lot of water.
Because you just want to optimize the time every second of the day, right?
Yeah, and also, like, I live on a startup founder budget, so it's a lot of rice.
A lot of rice.
I eat a lot of rice.
I thought you were saying rice just because we're both Filipinos.
Well, that, and, like, I eat rice with every meal, like most Filipinos do. But, yeah, a lot of rice. My go-to meal is rice with egg. And that's...
Rice with egg.
Yeah, rice with egg or, like, instant noodles. But I do love to cook, and so... I'll like cook for my friends a lot, make desserts too. I love baking.
What's your favorite dessert to bake though?
To bake, I really love making flan, leche flan.
Leche flan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, just the other day, I made ube leche flan.
Ooh, sarap niya. We're teaching you guys what Tagalog here. So sarap niya means delicious.
Yep.
Yep. So ube and you guys ever... Is there a Jollibee here in Austin, Texas?
There's not. I haven't been to a Jollibee since the Philippines.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Houston. I told you that. There are, I think, 2 or 3 Jollibee's restaurants restaurants in Houston, Texas. Because the Filipino population there is pretty vast. Like,
Yeah.
so Jollibee wants to invest. There's a lot of Filipinos there, and it's interesting enough that if you go to Jollibee, they'll actually treat you like a Filipino. They'll actually speak Tagalog to you.
Will they really?
Yeah, they will.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I really felt like I was in the Philippines. I've never been to the Philippines. Like they actually call me Kuya. Kuya, what do you want to order?
Wow, are all of the workers Filipino too?
Yes, apparently they are.
Oh my gosh, I want to go to Jollibee.
Yeah, there's so many Filipinos there that they could be more than happy to hire someone that is Filipino.
Actually, the Jollibee here, though, from what I've seen on the menu and from what I've seen, like, people trying it online, it's actually quite different from the Jollibee in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I guess it makes sense because they're, like, catering for, like, the American preferences and diet, but it is quite a bit different than the Jollibee in the Philippines.
Yeah, and speaking of, the diet, I'm pretty sure when you were living in the Philippines, well, of course, before COVID happened, like, you think the Philippines diet is so vastly different what you witness in Canada and in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I do miss the food in the Philippines. I love like, oh no,
halo.
I love halo halo. I love like
sisig.
Yeah, sisig, adobo. But like I make those things at home. Not sisig. I've never made that, but I make like adobo, sinigang. But
what about lumpia?
Yeah, my mom makes lumpia. I haven't made it myself, but I've had my mom's lumpia. And like of course like anyone would say this, but my mom makes the best Filipino food. And so
Yep. Shout out to Lola.
Yep.
Yep. What about like Canadian food? Like you think your dad actually, I'm not saying I'm not sure if he bakes or cooks or Canadian food, but the only Canadian food I think is poutine.
Yeah, I love poutine, but I don't eat that much in Canada. Like it was kind of a thing when you'd go to a Canadian store that they would have poutine.
You drink some Tim Hortons too? That's like the Starbucks.
Oh, that's true. I love Tim Hortons, but they have Tim Hortons in the Philippines now, and it's super popular. Like Filipinos love Tim Hortons, and so I had Tim Hortons a lot in the Philippines too.
I thought it would be a Starbucks, capital there too as well.
They
so.
love Starbucks too. Yeah, they love Starbucks. They love Jollibee, Tim Hortons. They love fast food in the Philippines, big time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like so baking, and then your diet. I mean, like eating in Austin, any other extracurricular. I'm pretty sure you as the CCO, you guys definitely still make time to somewhat, quote unquote, have fun, like not think of actual work.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everything you do is kind of still revolves around work, because with Vlogmi, we want to still network and really find potential user that would use it, and probably you have fun at work rather than just work as at work. But,
Yeah.
But I want to talk about like legit fun. It's like, hey, I don't want to think about Vlogmi. I don't want to think about working or think about next ideas. I just want to like be free.
Yeah.
I just want to be Rafi.
Well, it's funny because all of our friends here are also startup founders.
Oh.
And so
Dad, everything's about work.
everything kind of revolves around work, but it's fun because like us hanging out is co-working. They're like, hey, like you want to co-work? So I actually do enjoy that because, you know, we have good feedback for each other and we can like hang out and have fun and also get some work done. But like completely outside of work, lately we've been going outside more, which is good because
it's
like,
summertime. It's the spring to summertime right now. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The weather has been nice, and so we're like, okay, we should probably go outside more because we don't go outside that much. And so we've been going to like Zilker Park, Barton Springs a few times, and then like at my friend's pool. And so that's always really nice to just like go outside and hang out with friends. And I also like to cook for my friends, and so we'll go to like my brother's girlfriend's apartment, and I'll just make food for everyone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Invite me. I'll
yeah, definitely. Next time.
I'll make some lumpia, and you let your mom actually judge it.
She might be a harsh judge. She makes really good lumpia.
It's okay. She has the credibility. Like we just talked about credibility. Give some feedback.
Yeah, she's someone you need to take feedback from because she is credible in that space.
And as well as like a chicken adobo. But do you actually have a favorite Filipino food? Now that you talk about Filipino food.
Probably, it's a dessert. Probably suman or biko. Do you know those?
I haven't heard those in a while. Wow.
Do you know them?
I think so. Yeah,
So suman is like the long sticky rice that's wrapped in banana leaf. And then biko is, I actually made this not that long ago. It's sticky rice, but it's made with coconut caramel. And so you make caramel out of the coconut milk and ginger, and it's so good.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. You had me at ginger. I was like,
you don't like ginger?
I feel like ginger could be used as separate, like to dip in, but I'm not gonna put it in there.
No, you cook the rice with like you put ginger in the rice while it's cooking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like because last time I would drink ginger ale. I know that sounds weird, like to some people, but I don't know whenever I'm on the plane, I like to drink ginger ale.
I love ginger ale.
That's the only ginger ale I would drink. Actually, that's kind of the ginger ale.
I love ginger, and so
Yeah.
like in the Philippines, like they have like salabat, which is the ginger tea. It's like super strong, like really really strong ginger tea. That's always really good. But yeah, those are probably my favorite Filipino foods that are like sweet, and then savory probably. I don't know. Is it basic of me to say adobo?
No, it's not basic. Like
Or have you ever
if
had?
you say chicken adobo, that's pretty basic.
Yeah.
But
It is basic, but it's also like specifically my mom's chicken adobo or pork adobo. But also oh my gosh, what's the name? Bicol Express.
Bicol Express.
Yeah. It's like it's chicken made with like coconut milk, and it's spicy. It's really good. Really really good.
I see. And then so you do the cooking. Do you learn your cooking from your mom, or it's a little bit more like maybe you try to you seek it out yourself? Maybe check out YouTube videos. That's how I do my cooking. Like I definitely 20% of it, like probably my mom inspired me to do so, but 80% I teach it myself.
So if I'm making something that like my mom knows how to make, then I'll definitely like. If she's there, then she'll probably be guiding me the whole way. But if she's not there, then I'll probably just be texting her or video calling her. That happens a lot. Like if I'm making adobo, then I'm gonna call my mom, or she'll send me like a whole paragraph of what to do. But aside from that, like last night I cooked dinner for my friends, and I just found this recipe on Pinterest, and
Pinterest.
yeah, I get recipes from Pinterest or like from YouTube.
Yeah, look, I do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones on there, but
I love how it's categorized because it's like it's categorized like and laid out there. Like you can definitely do the same thing in Google, but it's just you just get hit with a bunch of ads and it's a lot, and you get stuck into that bad rabbit hole. But with Pinterest, it's I don't know. I just like how it's laid out there.
Me too.
I think the algorithm works.
I'm a
well
big fan of Pinterest. I use it way more than I should.
It reminds me of Tumblr.
Yes.
Before actually it would blow up. I don't know what happened to Tumblr.
Tumblr, oh my god. They like I used to use Tumblr all the time, but they died basically. They're still here sort of, but honestly like a big hit to them was when they banned NSFW content.
And then Reddit allowed that. So probably Reddit won in that space in some sort
Actually more Twitter. Twitter allows it.
Twitter allows it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like a lot of those blogs
true,
went to Twitter. And yeah, now Tumblr's dead, and it just got really what's the word? Like very divided.
Yeah.
It became very divisive on Tumblr, even though the whole thing was about inclusivity. It felt like there was just always arguments on there, and like always like people being pushed around sort of, and it just didn't become a very good community anymore.
Yeah, for me, I started using Tumblr like around like, man, I'm gonna say, I know my listeners know that I'm kind of old, but like this is like back in 2010, so I was like 19, and then I stopped like right after because I got more into the LinkedIn and the Facebook, and then Instagram in 2015. But Tumblr was like the thing. It was an absolute thing. Like you want to make your whole page like a lot of like cool, funny gifs that is like very meaningful and whatnot. But I don't know how it is right now. I don't think it would. I would look at it. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, well, it kind of still looks the same, but I went on it actually just a few weeks ago for the first time in a long time, and they have like new monetization stuff. Like you can boost your content sort of in different ways, but it's definitely not the same. Like I used it. I was kind of late to Tumblr, but I started using it probably like 2014, 2015.
Oh, wow, that's late.
Well, in 2010 when you were using it, I was 9. So
you were playing Club Penguin.
I was on Club Penguin, yeah. But I used it more in like 2014, 2015, and then it was like, at least the communities that I was in was mostly like One Direction, like boy bands, TV shows.
Believers.
I wasn't in that community, but there were probably definitely Believers on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Wow, Tumblr. That's the name I've heard a while about. Rest in peace to Tumblr, if that's a proper way to say it right now. But so the diet, the food, the adventures, any more further adventures that you and your family will want to kind of go on as to vibe, like maybe go check out California, go check out New York, and like I'm pretty sure you guys would think of carving out some time to really just travel, just to really explore.
Oh yeah, like I want to see more of the States. I haven't seen too much since moving here. But I also just want to go everywhere. Like I want to go to Europe more. I've been to Spain, but I want to just visit as many places as I can. I would also love to live in other countries for a while.
Like just by yourself, or is this more like with a family, or just see how it goes kind of thing?
Yeah, just see how it goes. Like I'm just very open to like going wherever. I like Austin is my home right now, and I love it here, and I probably want to be here like for a long time, but like on and off, because I would love to live in other places, experience other cultures. I've thought about Singapore, because my parents live there.
Singapore startup is actually pretty good at driving there. It's actually one of the big financial hubs. Like we think of financial hubs here in the States are New York City, Miami, and then Singapore is like a really huge crypto scene there, as well as like startup.
Yeah,
Well,
Singapore is huge. Or like not like land wise, but like
Yeah.
in tech and stuff.
Yeah, and in fact, it's like, and that brings me to another question. It's like, would you think like the crypto scene here in Austin here is as big, or it's there?
It was very big, especially last year. It's died down a little bit.
Ever since Silicon Valley Big Bang.
Yeah, like even before that. But like even before that, it did die down a little bit. Like I don't see nearly as many crypto events, but they did just have Consensus here, which was the big Web3 event, a
Yeah.
Web3 conference, and so there were a lot of crypto Web3 people in town, NFT stuff, and we had a booth at one of those events, but it's a lot less prevalent, I feel, than it was like a year ago. It has died down a little bit, or maybe I'm just not in the community as much. Maybe it's still very much thriving, but I feel like at least in the community I'm in, there was a lot of talk about crypto Web3, and now it's all AI.
AI, yeah.
Yeah, like that was the trend last year, and now this year it's all AI.
And speaking of AI, ooh, that could be another podcast in itself, like
A whole other thing, yeah.
A whole other thing, and it's like you want to, with the mission with the vlogging, we want to be very authentic, but with AI, it has the power to really kind of create something that can catch you by a split second, like, oh, I think this is real, but you have to really kind of think very critically, very fast, like, this doesn't sound real. Like, of course, I've heard some Drake's deep fake sounds.
I know, it's
AI,
crazy, those
like,
songs now.
Yes, there's songs, and I'm like, this is actually, this is fire. But I don't think Drake had ever produced this.
Yeah, like I've been seeing so many more songs that are produced by AI. They're just either completely not a real song, or it's like Drake singing an Ariana Grande song or Kanye West singing a Taylor Swift song.
And this is interestingly enough, a friend of mine in LA actually showed me a AI podcast. A Joe Rogan podcast, generated all in AI, and I was blown away to like someone. If I was lazy, I could make an AI, or I could make an AI of us, but I choose to be authentic.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have us both sitting here and we're just like completely not real. We didn't even need to do this podcast. We could have gotten AI to do it.
Yeah, but it's just not. It's really not the same. It really still wouldn't be the same.
No.
And I personally want to kind of do this because I
of course.
genuinely enjoy doing this.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, just like in any technology, for the digital well-being, I think AI is just a tool. It should be used as a tool to kind of to work more efficiently and more effectively to get your message and deliver and execute value to your end users or to your clients, not just go to complete all the way around and do it for evil means or lie to people.
Yeah, of course. I think that there's really, really interesting ways that we can incorporate AI into Vlogmi, but that's not going to be in the way of like
destroying the core values.
Exactly,
and I like it that you guys say like, hey, we could do all these cool things, but it doesn't really fit with our core values. If it doesn't, sorry, we're not gonna.
Yeah, then we don't need it. Yeah, like there's really interesting ways that we can use AI as a tool, but not, to make fake people, fake accounts, or like, even like, I don't know. I feel like I don't even know what AI is capable of, and so I think that there's a lot of ways that it could be harmful, but we already have a lot of ideas on how it can be a tool for our users to help them with content, help them with engagement, things like that. And so I think in that way it can be really positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it could be really positive. And with the AI being in that space, where do you think the future of Vlogmi will be with the AI?
So what we're actually planning on for our monetization, like our initial one, is actually going to be using AI. And so the way that it works is let's say you're a creator on Vlogmi, it'll scrape through your most engaged followers. So let's say like your 1,000 most engaged followers, and it'll see what they're looking at, what they're engaging with in real time, and then give you AI-driven content suggestions for you to create content that will really connect with your audience. And so let's say like a big percentage of your audience is really into dog videos right now, then you might want to make a podcast with your dog. Like you might want to like make content with your dog, or do like a vlog about walking your dog, or you just yesterday with all 4 of those dogs. And see, like that could be fun content. And so
it's actually fun content.
Yeah.
I genuinely anyway enjoy that. Yeah, so I'm glad they brought that up. You have a dog too, right? Or
I don't know. My brother's girlfriend has a dog.
Yeah.
Her name is Mila, and she's adorable.
Would you say that brings up another thing? Being an entrepreneur and having pets is, I don't know, it's very super hard to really kind of balance out.
Yeah.
Like, would you at one point want to have your own dog, or you feel like, maybe like foster, or just like, oh, I'll just give it to my mom and dad to look after it?
So I've never had a pet. I've never had a dog. I've had fish before, and that's about it. But I'm allergic to dogs. I'm allergic to anything with fur, hair, saliva, feathers. Anything with that is going to give me like a hay fever, rash, which sucks because I love animals. But I definitely do want a dog at some point. But right now, it would not make sense at all for me to have a pet right now. Like, I'm never home. I'm always here at Capital Factory working. Or like when I'm not here working, I want to be hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And so it just wouldn't make sense for me to have a pet right now. Maybe when I have my own place, then I might get a dog or something. But yeah, I can't see myself having one for a couple of years. Maybe I would much rather my friends have pets that I can hang out with.
Hang out with,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sure. So the startup lifestyle is like, it's fast, it's engaging, it's like what it is. But and maybe one last piece of advice for listeners who are really want to get to where you're pretty much at with your own real startup and this lifestyle. What is there or maybe some reality like they know they have to kind of face, like what are some things like once you go in, there's no point of return, or there could be some point of return. You could go back to your 9-to-5 job.
I think a big thing is to just, I actually talked about this on a previous podcast I was on, and like something that really helps your mindset going into it is acceptance.
Okay.
And at first I didn't even realize that was kind of what I was talking about until the girl I was on the podcast with said, hey, I noticed that a common theme in what you're talking about is a lot about acceptance. And then I realized, oh yeah, that is what I'm talking about. And what I mean by that is, like, what we were talking about earlier, like, don't dwell on something. Like, accept that it happened, move on. And yeah, just, I think that's a big part of being an entrepreneur is you can't, like, you need to be accepting of, like, where you are right now, not dwelling on the negatives, like, learn from them, move on. And also just not, it's okay to be scared, but don't let it control you.
It's okay to be scared. Don't let it control you.
Yeah, because like it's scary to do a startup. It's scary to like drop everything and decide to be your own boss and start something that you think has a lot of potential. Like that, I think that can be really scary. But
and also try to like balance out like your personal life, or probably almost have too little no personal life, because you literally told me it's like, what do you do for fun? It's like, oh, I hang out with my coworkers. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I co-work with my friends.
Co-work with my friends.
Yeah.
It's like you're in your own bubble or clique, but you don't really kind of like do anything else, like maybe go down to 6th Street, Rainy Street, or play an instrument or whatsoever. But again, I think that's one of the little glimpses of like what the lifestyle really is. And but again, going back about the word acceptance, I really like that. Like what more of the reality is like being an entrepreneur at this stage?
I think probably like accepting that it's a very scary thing to do. And like I know that this is crazy what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's absolutely insane.
Like trying to go up against the giants.
Yeah. And also like we invested our whole college funds into this. Like we never went to college, we just decided to go straight into this. But
this is your college.
This is my college, exactly. But to me, and maybe this is like more imposter syndrome talking, but I feel like if I can do this, then anyone can do this. And so just believe it's so this sounds so dumb, but like believing in yourself, like even if you don't have the confidence, fake the confidence. That's something that my brother taught me because I can be kind of shy and like I find it scary to talk to people sometimes, but he told me to just fake confidence, just pretend to be confident. And sometimes people can tell, but like not really, cuz like I don't know, I just pretend to be confident and then it works. And so that's another thing that's helped me.
But before you like kind of go on stage, or even before like having any talks, or even like this, like do you do that little quick mental exercise, or you go to the restroom and you tell yourself, you can do this, Poppy, let's go?
Not really for podcasts, but for
like,
public speaking.
Yeah, public speaking.
Oh yeah, like if I'm doing a pitch later in the day in front of people, like I think the most people in a crowd that I've done a pitch for was like 300 people.
Oh God.
And
I know what's it like to speak 100, but 300.
Yeah, it was terrifying for me.
Do you do mock call? Do you do like mock presentations before?
Yeah,
like,
so
weeks before?
actually, I would go to like one of those call rooms in Capital Factory where it's just like a tiny little cubicle.
Yeah.
And I would just repeat my pitch over and over and over.
Alone by yourself?
Alone. And then...
Is it better to have with some audience? Again, this is just me. This is me, because I know what I like to talk to in front of people, and actually I would definitely record myself, even though that sounds scary to record myself, and I try to do that on my free time. But again, yeah, continue on.
Yeah, well, I would record myself in the call rooms and do it over and over and over again. And then, like, I think I pitched for my friends, like, in a private room, like, in just a boardroom a couple of times, but they're not always, like, I don't always have an audience to pitch to before the big audience, and so I would just do it alone. And honestly, like, I'm very, very happy and proud that it came across well. Because I had really good feedback. My friends were like, oh, you did great. Like, you didn't really stutter. Like, you came across, like...
You got your points across very well.
Yeah, like, I remembered what I was going to say, and I didn't stutter. It sounded fine. But, like, from my perspective, I went up on the stage, blacked out, and then all of a sudden they're clapping and I'm done.
In a point of view of Rafi, you just went and you blacked out. But you kept it. But in reality, you just kept it going, and then the next thing you said, like, you clapped. Wow.
Yeah, like I don't remember pitching. Honestly, like I think people say that you don't remember traumatic experiences, like your brain blocks those out, and like for me that's terrifying because I'm
you want to be in control kind of thing, right? Or you just want to be conscious about it.
Well, I don't know, like for me when I go up on stage it's very, very scary, and I hold my phone because my phone has what I'm going to say, but I don't want to look at my phone.
Exactly.
I don't want to be the one reading from my phone while I'm pitching, and so, but I hold it there for like comfort knowing that it's there.
Yeah.
But
some people use flashcards.
That's true. I could maybe do that next time, but I don't want to hold anything. Like I want to get to the point where I'm able to not do that. But
you like to move your hands, like
like be more charismatic with it. But I don't know. Like I would go on stage and then like start talking, and I've been waiting for this like for the whole day. Like I've just been like preparing for this moment, and then it's just over. And I don't really remember it.
and then you get like great feedback from your family,
and
from your friends. Like, you did actually good, and you're like, wait, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, thanks, but I don't remember.
You know, this is another theory this is another psychological theory. So you ever seen a movie Fight Club?
I haven't actually.
Okay, you've heard some good stuff.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so the value of it is there's a lot of morals and a lot of values. But what you just said, like, oh, you blacked out, you don't really remember it, like, literally remember it. It's not like you took a drug or anything, but it's like you just go, is that another mental part of you, or AKA an alter ego took upon you? So there's your other side of you takes over. That's the same thing in Fight Club. Like, once the main character he's portrayed as like Tyler Durden, but there's like the normal version of Tyler Durden and there's the alpha version. So when the normal version, when he can't sleep and he somewhat blacks out just because he can't, but physically he can't, he's awake, but his alter ego, his mental shift alter ego comes out. So it's kind of like that fake alter ego, and I believe each and every one of us as human, we have one.
Yeah.
You look at the musical artists. You could look at Beyonce Knowles. Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, that's names or name like Jay-Z. That's like a stage name. It's like your alter ego in a good way for entertainment.
Yeah.
And maybe what you did there is kind of like your alter ego kind of comes in. You fake your comment. That's your confident Rafi.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, there's pitch Rafi. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like I fake my confidence because like, but after a while of faking it, then you just are confident.
Yeah, you get so used to it. Your brain muscle already. It's kind of like a muscle memory.
Yeah.
Of some sort. And I feel like if you were to pitch maybe right after this, if we're in front of 20 people, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I don't have a script, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I know I could do it. It's just I don't want to, but I'll do it because I do like to prepare, but I know. Like, it's not like I don't know what Vlogmi is. It's not like I'm going to mess up because I don't know something. Like, I know this inside and out. I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
It's more of just, like, I'm scared of people. And so, but, yeah, you're right. Like, it is sort of an alter ego because I fake my confidence. I don't think I fake it as much anymore. But also, like, I black out when I'm on stage. And, yeah, like, also the way that my brother described it is pitching for a startup founder is our performance. And like if you're a dancer, then when you're on stage, that's your performance. Or when you're like a singer, when you're on stage singing, that's your performance. But for us, our pitch is like our art form. It's our performance. And so like you do have to somewhat rehearse, and then after a while you get pretty good at it.
Yeah. Do you ever like to listen to TED Talks too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I see. That's one of my biggest inspiration, and I see a lot of startup founders. If they can talk like TED Talks, I was like, yeah, you did it. You know how to get your points across.
Yeah, I've actually found that there's a very specific way that TED Talk people speak. Like after watching a lot, like they have like a little bit of comedy, but then it'll like go into like the more serious thing. Like I don't know, I feel like there's a formula and like a specific way that they speak that is in every single TED Talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And also another great speaker, of course, rest in peace to this goat of innovation to Steve Jobs. I still think his presentation and his public speaking skills one of the best in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, how can you be so confident in black turtleneck, jeans, and New Balance shoes that probably our dads have worn and present a simple device that looked like a fifth grader could make it?
Yep. But it's the most innovative thing in the world.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's just really great. And, but yeah, so I know we're already at the end of this Ride Vibe podcast, and I thank you very much for your time. But just one last piece of advice or fact you want to share with our listeners, whether it means to finding their own startup or how they want to adapt to the startup lifestyle, like what you're kind of going, like what's the one thing you want to leave for our listeners here?
Yeah, I guess just the main thing would be to start just in any way that you can, like stop thinking about it and just go for it. If you really believe in it, if you really know that you can do it, even if you're unsure, actually, because I'm even unsure of myself a lot of the time. So I think the best thing to do is to just go for it. Do as much research as you can, get yourself immersed in the community and like everything you can with whatever it is you're going for, to just begin, because that's definitely the hardest part.
Yep. All right. Perfect. Well, Rafi, thank you very much. Oh, and I completely forgot. So, how would our listeners actually follow you, either on Instagram or Vlogmi? And, just at the camera. So, like, username, like on the Instagram, and I would definitely kind of like share it.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to follow me on Vlogmi, my username is @Rafaela. Instagram @Rafi.Thorson. Twitter @RafiThorson. And then for any of our Vlogmi accounts, it's just @Vlogmi. On TikTok, it's @VlogmiOfficial. And so if you want to follow us there, then you can. And yeah, I think that's most of our socials. If not, then I'll get him to link them. But yeah.
Absolutely. And guys, thank you very much for listening to our to this episode. And the next episode will definitely be coming out pretty soon. But as far as for now, Rafi, again, thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful place and having the time here to interview for the Drive By podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.